Okay. Um, let's go over this part of this worksheet that we did in class. We are focusing on graphing quadratic functions in standard form. The goal, I can graph a quadratic function in standard form by using the axis of symmetry, vertex, and symmetric points. There's some key vocabulary words here. I'm not going to go through them. We already talked about them in class, but just know that they're here and you could refer to them if you ever get stuck. Here's an important formula. Every time you have a quadratic equation, you can find the axis of symmetry at this line, x equals negative b over 2a. Okay. And then here are some steps for graphing a quadratic equation. We're going to follow each of these steps, okay, on this part right here. So I'm going to go through example 1. Each quadratic expression looks like this: ax squared plus bx plus c. All right, so I have this one right here, y equals x squared minus 4x plus 3. So my a is always that first number, b is that second number in front of the x, and then c is that third one. Okay, so in this problem, my a is 1, right? When there's no number in front of the x, that's the same thing as having a 1 there. So my a is 1, my b is negative 4, and my c is 3. Okay. Okay. Does the parabola open up or down? So we already wrote this in class. If a is positive, then the parabola opens up. Okay, it's going to kind of look like this, like a smiley face. So I remember my algebra teacher would say, if it's positive, then it's like you're happy, smiley face, right? If a is negative, then the parabola opens down. It's sad. It's a sad face. Okay, negative, sad face. So here, a is just positive 1, so it's going to open up. Open up. Okay. Axis of symmetry. Remember earlier, we said that we need to use this equation for the axis of symmetry. So let's go ahead and use it. X equals negative b over 2a, where b is negative 4, so it's going to be negative negative 4 over, and then a is 1. All right, we said b is negative 4, and then we said a is 1. Negative negative 4 is positive 4. 2 times 1, that's 2. 4 divided by 2, that is 2. So our axis of symmetry is 2. When x is 2, well, I'm going to draw this dotted line where everything on one side needs to be exactly the same as the other side. Okay. So once you have the axis of symmetry, x equals 2, where's your vertex? So this is where somewhere along this dotted line, our parabola is going to start. Okay, so the vertex, when x is 2, we got to figure out what y coordinate is going to get us a vertex. So when x is 2, I'm going to plug it into this equation here, y equals x squared. So instead of x, we're going to say 2 squared minus 4x, which is 4 times 2, plus 3. Again, I got this equation from here, right? I didn't just pull that out of nowhere. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 minus 8 plus 3. 4 minus 8 is negative 4 plus 3. That's negative 1. So when x is 2, our y is negative 1. So at this point right here, that's our vertex, is 2 and negative 1. And this is your coordinate, x equals 2. Sorry, not negative. This is your line, axis of symmetry, x equals 2. Okay. The y-intercept, does it cross the y-axis at any point? Yes, it does here. Remember, y-intercept means that the graph crosses the y axis. So it only crosses the y-axis when x is 0. So I'm going to show my work for this, but next time you do not need to show your work. 0 squared minus 4 times 0 plus 3. So you can kind of tell right away where that y is going to end up. 0 squared is 0. 4 times 0 is 0. So it's just 3. Right? So we have a y-intercept at 0 and 3. 0 and 3. Where does the graph cross the y-axis at that point? Okay. And then now, this is the axis of symmetry. That means that whatever is on one side, it needs to be the same on the other side. So this point 0 and 3 is here. So on the other side, we're going to have a point at 4, 3 to make it symmetric, to make it equal. Okay. Additional symmetric points, that means where are we going to put the other points? So let's keep going, right? Let me try plugging in 5, right? At x equals 5. When x equals 5, the formula is going to be 5 squared minus 4 times 5 plus 3. 5 squared is 25. 4 times 5 is 20. That's going to be 8. So we have another coordinate at 5 and 8. Right there. So it's symmetric. So again, on the other side, I need to match that and negative 1 and 8. Does that make sense? If I keep going, I'm not going to be able to reach the graph. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of sketch my graph here. It should look something like this, okay? Okay. Let's try this next one, the guided practice. Guided practice. Okay, what about this next one? So same thing, right? We're going to follow the same 6 steps. Identify, is it up or down? Where's the axis of symmetry? Where's the vertex? All that stuff. Oh, I spilled coffee on myself. Sorry, give me 1 second. You could just skip this part of the video. No. Okay. Sorry, I'm wiping down the coffee. All right. So same thing. A, B, and C. Which one's my A? Which one's my B? Which one's my C? A is 1 again. Again, there's this invisible 1 there. B is 2. C is negative 3. Does my parabola open up or down? My A is positive, so it's going to open up. Axis of symmetry, it follows that formula, negative B over 2A. So my B is 2 this time, so negative 2 over 2 times 1. Negative 2 over 2, that is negative 1, right? Okay, let me pause there for a second. What do I do with my axis of symmetry now to find my vertex? All right, what do I do here? You have to go ahead and plug that in. My formula is new. I have a different equation now. Y, where's my pen? There you go. Y equals. Now I'm going to plug in negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 minus 3. Negative 1 squared is 1. 2 times negative 1, that's negative 2 minus 3. That is negative 4. So when x is negative 1, our vertex, our y is going to be negative 4. So let's kind of combine all of this stuff, right? We have our axis of symmetry at negative 1 this time. Negative 1, negative 4 is our vertex right here. Do we have any y-intercepts? If I plug in 0, 0, it's just going to be negative 3, right? When x is 0, y equals negative 3. Same thing here. All right, when x is 0, y equals 3. So at 0 and negative 3, right here, I'm going to have a y-intercept. This is the axis of symmetry, so do the same thing on the other side right there. Okay? Whatever on one side, you got to do it on the other side. Okay, let's try to find additional symmetric points. What happens if we plug in 1? Right? When x is 1, y is equal to, and I'm plugging it back into this equation again. Y is equal to 1 squared plus 2 times 1 minus 3. 1 squared plus 2 minus 3, that's 0. So I have a point at 1 and 0 right there. And then on the other side, it's got to be the same thing. Let's do one more. When the x is 2, y is equal to 2 squared plus 2 times 2 minus 3. 4 plus 4 minus 3, that's going to be 5. So I have a point at 2 and 5. And then on the other side, negative 4 and 5. Again, when x is 3, 3 squared plus 2 times 3 minus 3. 9 plus 6 minus 3. That's 15, 12. That's going to go like past it, so we don't need this. Okay, so kind of guess where the rest of the, you're going to eyeball it, right? It's going to go up like that. It's going to go up like that. Okay. Any questions? Oops, I don't know why I'm asking you that. Okay, let's try this one. Number 1 for independent practice. How much time do I have? Again, I need to find my ABCs. Let's just follow the same steps. A, 1, B, 6, C, 5. Axis of symmetry, negative B over 2A. Notice how this one has less steps? It's because you can combine some of the steps once you get the hang of it. Then it's going to be negative 6 over 2 times 1. That's negative 6 over 2, which is negative 3. I'm going to do my graph right here. Okay, so negative 3 is my axis of symmetry. This is number 1. And then I got to take that axis of symmetry and plug it in to the equation to find my vertex. Okay. Y equals negative 3 squared plus 6 times negative 3 plus 5. Notice how I'm putting in a parentheses every time I replace my x with that number. Okay. Negative 3 squared, that's 9. Oops. 6 times negative 3, that's negative 18 plus 5. 9 minus 18, that's negative 9. Negative 9 plus 5, that's negative 3. So we have our vertex at negative 3, negative 3. Right here. Okay, let's keep going. Opening direction is a positive. Yes, so it opens up. What are some symmetric points? Here, this is kind of like a combination of finding the y-axis and the other symmetric points. Does it look like it's going to cross the y-axis at all? Yeah, it kind of does, right? When we look at our equation, our y-intercept is going to be 5. So at 0, our y-intercept is 5. So let's add that, 0 and 5. And then it's a symmetrical balance, so you got to make sure you do it on the other side. And I don't think it'll capture the rest of it, right? It's kind of just past a 10. So you could just kind of draw it like that. It says sketch a graph. It doesn't have to be completely accurate. as long as you have the right idea. Okay, next one. A is -1, B is 4, C is 5. So I wonder if anything changes once our A is negative this time. Axis of symmetry, -b over 2a. So that's -4 over 2 times -1. That's -4 over -2. That's +2. +2. So our axis of symmetry, I'm going to do this one on this side, is at 2. Okay. So then our vertex, let's plug it in. Y equals, and in this part you have to be very careful. You bring the negative first, and then remember I'm putting parentheses wherever I replace the x with a 2. Then plus 4 times 2 plus 5. Here you got to do exponents first. 2 squared, that's 4. So I'm going to do -4. 4 times 2, that's 8. Plus 5. -4 plus 8, that's 4. 9. Okay, so our vertex is going to be at 2 and 9. 2 and 9, like that. Okay, and then here, is it going to be opening upwards or downwards? And this is our first example of opening down, right? Because the A value is negative. Let's find some symmetric points of pair. What symmetric point pairs? It looks like it's going to cross the y-axis at some point, right? When is it going to cross the y-axis? I see it as +5 here. Okay, so when x is 0, it crosses the y-intercept, or the y-intercept is 0 and 5 right there. Can do the same thing on the other side. Let's keep going. What about -1? What happens if you plug in -1? Let's see. Y equals -1 squared plus 4 times -1 plus 5.